Lack of access to quality seeds remains a big challenge for smallholder farmers here in Kenya, hence limiting their incomes. I spoke to John Mann, Managing Director of Afritec, a seed technology company that's working with over 50,000 rice farmers in the country. Here's more. Kenya and many other African countries rely heavily on agriculture. In Kenya, we're talking about 30% contribution to GDP. Over time, we've been talking about the problem of seeds and not having quality seeds, especially for small-scale farmers. How big of a problem is this from where you see it?
Well, I think seed, as a seeds person, you always say that this is the single most important problem, because if you have high quality seed, everything else kind of can fall in. Afritec is a company which is focused on hybrid seed, hybrid rice seed in specific. We've been doing technology development in Kenya for the last 10 years. But 2 years ago, we reached the point where it was opportune to actually take this to a business. And so we started Afritec Seeds Limited at that point. We have had 2 production seasons. The first one was a bit of a failure, to be honest, but last year we had the first hybrid rice production field in Africa based on products developed in Africa.
How do you ensure that this new technology is adopted by farmers and at the right price when we are talking about the seeds?
Well, our strategy for pricing is that we are pricing to value. So whatever increase in value we can get to the farmer, then we're going to take a percentage of that. It does mean that seed for hybrid rice will be more expensive than what they're paying now, substantially more expensive. But we look at the value creation rather than at the cost. So what we propose is that the farmers will have a net return of something like 200% over their investment in seed. So at least that. So this is how we will price to value. We do know that many small farmers will require assistance in purchase. So we really think that many will require post-harvest payment. And so we're setting up systems to do that so that they grow the crop. We give them the seed, they grow the crop, and then we collect after harvest for the seed.
How will you ensure that they adopt this technology efficiently? Because most small-scale farmers in Kenya, and they are significant, more than 60 years and above, that's where you find most farmers.
Absolutely.
Most farmers. How are you going about training them?
Well, to start with, if you give a farmer a hybrid rice seed, he's going to grow it the same way he does the seed he's currently growing. So there's no difference required in that technology. However, we are in fact training farmers. We're training trainers, and then these trainers are training farmers. I think to date we're at 600, 700, 800 farmers that we've impacted. But there are improved technologies that we are trying to teach to go along with the seed. But in terms of growing a hybrid product, the difference is you get more yield.
Now, in 2015, you launched a project involving the small-scale rice farmers to improve their yields. What's the kind of outcome that you are expecting from this?
The project was started with only, in fact, by the fact that UK Aid and Food Trade was willing to invest in what was in essence a greenfield project. Even though we had the experience, even though we knew, getting that initial investment was extremely important for us. So now we are obviously developing a revenue stream. We have a variety which is registered, and so we are using that for revenue. We are also selling to large farms where we can to provide us with that cash input that allows us to continue to move forward on the really big market, which of course is small farmers. About 95% of the market in Eastern Africa, at least, is small farmers. So that's really our focus.
Now, you're investing in a market that's quite saturated with imports, rice imports from Far East, talking about Pakistan. How is this changing business prospects, and how you engage Kenyan farmers in the rice sector? That
is an issue because our farmers are not as efficient as Pakistani farmers. So we have to move that curve. Yes, we're importing 80% of our rice today, but we do believe that we can affect the marketplace so that our rice is not only competitive but superior in quality. So that's an important issue. But we do know that we have to get rice production at the level that we can compete even with the import subsidies. We have to be able to compete with imported products. So we think hybrids, we're sure that hybrids are the only way that that's going to happen.
How do you think as a country we can innovate around that area, drought-resistant seeds, disease-resistant seeds?
Well, one of the advantages that hybrids have in the rice side and in other crops as well is that hybridity itself gives you additional drought tolerance. As an example, there are Nerica varieties which have been here for many years, which are drought tolerant. But our hybrids, the first round of our hybrid testing showed that we had hybrids that yielded 3.5 tons per hectare better than these so-called drought tolerant varieties. So we believe we can expand the area that's in production of non-irrigated rice. As you know, 90% of our rice in Kenya is in irrigation schemes. But we believe we can actually affect that, and in rain-fed areas we can get, these hybrids will allow us to penetrate.
As a company, what are your business prospects in the markets that you're operating in, talking about Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Mozambique?
We expect to be Africa's biggest hybrid rice seed company. So we don't have small plans. But those 4 countries easily provide us with that kind of input, even if, and we will have competition. We actually favor competition. So we believe we can capture between 8 and 10% of the marketplace in Eastern Africa. Tanzania is the big one, of course, because it has about 75% of the rice grown in Eastern Africa is grown in Tanzania. So yeah, we're actually looking very much looking forward to that kind of challenge.